There's a magic combination of settings that will give your pictures an amazing look with skin smoothing that looks like there's a filter and magical lighting throughout the whole picture. And it works with a lot of different cameras. This is great for wedding photographers and people who do a lot of portraits. Now, of course, lighting is important, and using softboxes gives you a nice soft look, which we're doing today, but you can even get this look without softboxes. Now the flashes I'm using today, believe it or not, are just little tiny Godox AD100s. They're as small as a soda can, but they're more powerful than a speedlight. And I will be using them with softboxes outdoors. The two softboxes I'm using are a Flip 32, I made a video about that, small and portable, and also an Angler Fastbox 28. They instantly collapse and they're very portable, great for traveling. The camera I'm using today is a Sony a7R from so many different situations, even without softboxes. Every shot turned out like this. I love this. Alright, let's move to a second location here, and same setup. I'm using a softbox as my key light on the upper right, and I have a second softbox on the bottom left to fit that. These pictures are perfect right out of the camera. I didn't touch a thing. These are amazing. Look at this. So you can see they're different locations, but they have the same look. So what are these settings? Well, the first one is to get good lighting, which we have. The second one is to make sure you have good white balance. Now the Sony a7R V, which I'm using here, tends to run a little cool. The pictures have a little bit of a bluish cyan cast to them. So I have the white balance set to 5800 for anything that's daylight related, like a flash or a daylight balanced LED or just plain daylight. I find for this camera, that's the perfect white balance setting. So find what white balance setting is perfect for your camera and use that. The second setting on this camera is skin smoothing is turned on, but on low. And the magic setting that brings it all together is Dynamic Range Optimizer. And it does exactly what it says. It optimizes the dynamic range without having to use RAW. I made a video about this last year. It'll take the normal harsh black shadows and lighten them up. And it can even bring down the highlights a little bit if needed. You can have it on automatic, but in the case of the a7R V, I like to have it on manual level 3, or in this case, level 5, which is all the way. And it looks amazing. It gives the images this magical, creamy look. Now don't think the skin smoothing is what makes it look like this. The a7R V is a 45 megapixel sensor with no anti-aliasing filter. So out of the factory, this camera looks way too sharp and too detailed. You can see every skin pore and it just looks clinical. So having skin smoothing on low with this camera is the first step, but it's the Dynamic Range Optimizer that really makes the magical difference. Find what combination works with your camera. A lot of different cameras have settings like this. Panasonic Lumix, for example, has something called iDynamic, but that's what really gives it this magical look. It makes everything look so creamy. You don't have those harsh black shadows anymore. And if you're a wedding photographer or do a lot of portraits and you're taking hundreds of pictures, you don't have time to touch them all up. This looks great right out of the camera. Alright, these are the last few moments of light in the day. The sun is lighting up her hair from the left, and I'm filling in the shadows from the right with my Flip 32 softbox. This is without a flash, and this is with a flash. Nice. Look how soft that is. You would think there's a huge softbox giving her that much softness, but it's the magic combination I mentioned between the settings on the a7R V and the 32-inch softbox, which isn't really that big of a softbox, but it looks like it's like a 6-foot softbox lighting her up. It's just so cool. If you can get close to these settings with your camera, give it a try. That DRO Dynamic Range Optimizer setting really makes a difference. So I hope I inspired you and made taking pictures a little easier and more fun for you. I sure have fun doing this. Alright, I'll see you in the next video.